Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Radhe Radhe, Nitin ji, over to you.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Pallavi ji. Thank you, Gayatri ji and Padmini ji for a wonderful session. Good morning, good evening to all of you. Hope you're doing great. Had a wonderful day and a great start to your day. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Today we will discuss a concept around Karam Sanyas and the technical differences between the two Karam Yog that we've been discussing, Karam Sanyas, and then what is Lord Krishna's verdict basically with regards to which one is superior, and not just why it is superior, but why it is which is superior, but why it is superior. And then we will thicken the plot, okay, towards the end. That we will keep it as closely guarded secret for now. So welcome again. Let's get started with our daily prayers, and then we will get underway. We share my screen. Today we'll make a detour again, like we always do. We'll jump forward. We'll pick up a couple of shlokas which address this concept around Karam Sanyas. So we will pick it up, but let me get started with our opening prayers and we'll get underway.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll do our opening prayers then.
Yes.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Ishwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening again, everyone. So we'll get started. Like I said, we are going to discuss the Karam Sanyas aspect of science of work and the technicalities around it. How is it different? And if this question keeps popping up in your head, that what is Karam Sanyas and how is it different from Karm Yog that we have been discussing about? This question is a very relevant question. And then you are in an elite company, okay, elite company of Arjun, because he starts chapter 5th by asking the same question. Okay, so we will pick up the shlokas from chapter 5 today, the first and second shlokas. Two shlokas we are going to do to set the context and then get into the discussion. So let me pull up the first one to get the discussion going. So this is the question that we are going to tackle. Which one is superior, Karam Yoga or Karam Sanyas? And then 2.47 also gives us a master hedging strategy. Now, don't get lost in that word. I know it's a big financial term, but we'll get into that. If anybody is from a finance background, they'll be able to appreciate it. But even if you're not from finance background, no worries. I'll explain you. It's a very simple concept. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll start with chapter 1 of 5, verse 1. Arjun Vacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shamsasi Yachreya Etayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. All right, we have two shlokas, so if you don't get a chance in the first one, you'll get an opportunity in the second one. So,
Yeah. Udayji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna पुनर्योगं च शंससि यच्छ्रेय एतयोरेकं तन्मे ब्रूहि सुनिश्चितम्. राधे राधे.
Wonderful, very nice. Radhe Radhe.
Shruti ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shausasi Yachreya Etayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam.
Beautiful, Preeti ji. Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Arjun Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shansasi Yachreya Etayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam.
Very nice, Sandhya. You guys are becoming professionals in reciting now. Considering that you guys are trying it for the first time, it's pretty commendable, I must say that. All right.
Shyam ji, yeah, Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Arjunuvacha Sanyasam Karmana Krishnam Punaryogam Cha Shansasi Yachreyayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice, Shyamji. This shloka was recited by another Shyamji 5,000 years ago. So that's very nice. All right, let's take a few more hands.
Yeah, Rahul ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Rahulji.
Jai Shri Krishna. Arjun Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shansasi Yacheya Etyorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice, Rahul. Radhe Radhe. Beautiful.
Yeah, Nitin ji, I see a couple of hand raised. So,
Yeah, let's
should
take
we?
maybe a couple, or then we'll move to the next shloka. Thanks
Okay.
for reminding me. I had almost forgotten we have another one.
Yeah, we have second sloka as well.
We can take two more.
Okay, Hital ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead. Yeah.
Radhe Radhe. Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmana Krishna Punaryogam Cha Sansasi Yacheyam Etayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam.
Very nice, Hetal ji. Wonderful. We'll take one more and then the remaining ones in the next shloka.
Shruti ji,
Radhe
yeah, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Pallavi ji, Radhe Radhe Nitin. Arjun Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishnam Punaryogam Cha Shansasi Yacha Shreya Etor Ekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam.
Very nice, Shruti. Wonderful. So the short translation for this shloka goes like, Arjun said, O Shri Krishna, you praised Karm Sanyas, the path of renunciation of actions. By the way, Lord Krishna introduces that concept in 4.41, okay, briefly. And after the chapter 4th is over, Arjun is obviously asking, like a good student, that you introduce this concept as well. Now decisively tell me which one is better. And you also advise to do Karma Yoga, work with devotion. Now please tell me decisively which of the two is more beneficial. Okay? So this is the question posed by Arjun, like a good student. So now we'll get to the response that Lord gives to Arjun. So we'll recite the ones you didn't get a chance, you can follow along. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreya Sakaravubho Tayostu Karma Sanyasa Karma Yogo Vishishyate. Yes.
Yes, Lakshmi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Lakshmi ji.
Radhe Radhe. I think this is difficult. Right. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha सन्न्यासकर्मयोगश्च निःश्रेयसकरावुभो तयोस्तु कर्मसन्न्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते.
Very nice, Lakshmiji. You're back in your bus now. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Ashutosh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yes, Ashutosh ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Shri Bhagavanuvāca Sannyasaha Karma Yogascha Nihishayasa Karahubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasa Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
Wonderful. Very nice, Ashutosh ji. All right. Let's quickly pick up a few more hands.
Yes, Urvi ji.
Radhe Radhe, Urvi.
Radhe Radhe, Urvi ji. Please go ahead.
राधे राधे. श्री भगवान उवाच सन्न्यासः कर्मयोगश्च निःश्रेयस्करावुभौ तयोस्तु कर्मसन्न्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते.
Very nice,
Radhe
Urvi.
Radhe.
You get the debut award twice now. Okay. Yesterday and today as well. Wonderful. All right. Let's take a few more hands real quick and then we'll get started.
Yes, Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please
So
go ahead.
already recited, then let's give others a chance.
Yes, yes.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Pragi ji.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyaskaravubho Tayo Astu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
Thank you, Pragi ji. All right, we'll take three more hands and we'll get started.
Yes, Aarti ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Aarti ji.
Radhe Radhe, ma'am.
Radhe Radhe, Aarti. Aarti ji, your audio.
Sannyasaha karmyogascha.
Your audio is not cooperating.
Nishreya.
Your audio is not cooperating, Aarti ji. You may want to check that out. Yesterday also there was some problem, so please check out your audio. Let's move on. Next one in the meantime.
We can wait for that. Dinesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyas Karavubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. Radhe Radhe.
We'll really take real quick couple of hands and then get started. I know.
Yes, Manish ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, and one more after this.
Yes.
Radhe Radhe, everyone.
Radhe Radhe.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogasya Nishreyasa Karabhavu Tayostu Karma Sannyasa Karma Yoga Vishishyate. Radhe Radhe.
Rishi, Radhe Radhe. Okay, real quick.
Yes, Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karavubhav Tayostu Karma Sanyasa Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
Beautiful, Riya ji. Okay, I see one hand, so let's take
Yeah.
Rupa ji and then get
Yes,
started.
Rupa ji, please go ahead, Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, everyone. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasaha Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karavubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
Wonderful, Rupa ji. Thank you very much. So let's get started. So in response to Arjun's question, which one is, please let me know which one is, decisively know which one is better. Supreme Lord is saying that both the path of Karam Sanyas, renunciation of actions, and Karam Yoga, working in devotion, lead to the supreme goal. Okay, he's made it very clear. Both will lead to supreme goal. But Karm Yoga is superior to Karm Sanyas. Okay, he's saying that. Why he says that, we'll have a bit of a discussion on that today. So this is the question that we are posing, and Arjun is asking the same as well. Renunciation of actions is superior, or working in devotion is superior? As you can see, Karm Yoga or Karam Sanyas. Okay, Karam Sanyas here is being referred to when we renounce the actions. We'll go more in detail. We also do Karam Sanyas sadhana when we sit and do our root dhyan or our meditation, or do our kirtan all alone in solitude. That is also called Karam Sanyas sadhana. But this Karam Sanyas is a way of living that Arjun is asking about. So we do have a component of Karam Sanyas in our day-to-day lives when we do our sadhana, right? One-on-one with God when we do. But this is more of way of life that Arjun is asking. Karam Sanyas or Karam Yoga, which one is better? So let's get into it. Now, this is us, the soul, not the body. And we have a mind. We have seen this picture a lot of times in chapter 2. Now, the definition of Karam Yogi, what Lord Krishna is giving, or we have gone through, is the one who does spiritual duties plus social duties. So one who does both. That is the definition of a Karam Yogi. Now, the key thing here to understand is there are two aspects to it, right? Spiritual duties and the social duties we spoke about. The social duties that a Karam Yogi does, they are done by the body. Those duties are carried by body. Like we take care of our family and all that stuff, that is done by body. While the principle of Karam Yoga is the mind is attached to God. That is what we have been discussing for the past 1 week. The Karam Yoga aspect is you do the work. The work has to be carried out through our indriyas or body itself, right? However, the mind needs to be attached to God. So this is the principle of Karam Yoga. Okay. Now this is illustrated in this one. In Sadhan Bhakti Tattva, Maharaj Ji has written, Sochu mana yah karma mam sabha lakhata hari guru pyare. So in this, dear one, think always that all your actions are being observed by God and Guru. That is the consciousness one has to imbibe while performing actions. That God and Guru are your witness. There is absolutely no privacy that we think we have. We may have it from people around, but when it comes to God and God realized Guru, they are noting down every action. Nothing is hidden from them. There's absolutely no privacy when it comes to God and Guru. Okay, they note pratyek sankalp of pratyek shan of a pratyek life. Okay, we don't remember what we were thinking yesterday at the same time. God's big data, Hadoop or whatever you want to call it, has a log of every thought in every lifetime that we have had, every sankalp that we have made, whether we have translated it into action or not, every thought is getting documented. Okay, so there's absolutely no concept of privacy when it comes to God and Guru. Okay, and that is the concept of Karam Yoga. When we simply start understanding that and thinking about that, that is where you're attaching your consciousness, and your work would be like, right? There's a beautiful story where if you put God in front of you, who's your witness always, will you ever do anything wrong? Obviously not, right? It's just our conception. We are not seeing. God is seeing, though. We think we have access to our privacy, and we end up thinking things, right? So anyway, this is the definition of Karm Yoga. Now let's get into the other part of it. Getting to Karam Sanyas, again we have a body and our soul, which is a true identity. Now Karam Yogi, spiritual duties plus social duties, right? We spoke about Karam Yogi. So what happens then? I don't know what happens. Okay, so basically, if you look at this, why do we attach our mind to God? This is called the sadhana of Karam Yoga, by which through this practice, what happens? This practice gradually takes us from our bodily consciousness to spiritual consciousness, who we truly are. Why do we attach our mind to God? God is talking about all those 4 principles, right? When we perfect our Karma Yoga, or even during the journey itself, the conception that we are not this body, we are actually a soul. And what is our relationship with God? It starts deepening. So the key objective of practicing Karma Yoga is to rise above bodily consciousness to spiritual consciousness. That is the targeted objective of the Karma Yoga practice. Okay, I hope you're with me so far. Now let's get into the other part of it, Karam Sanyas. Again, we are still the same, right? Soul, body, mind complex. Now Karam Sannyasi, let's look at the equation here. Spiritual duties plus social duties. Not quite. Social duties are subtracted. Okay, for a Karam Sannyasi. You minus that in this equation, and that becomes the order of life of a Karam Sannyasi. Just 2 spiritual duties. Okay, now this is basically for people, for elevated souls who have already risen above the bodily platform. Why somebody is doing Karma Yoga? So that they can gradually uplift themselves from that bodily platform to understand what their true nature is. Karam Sannyasi, or this path, is for people who have already risen above bodily platform. They see soul. They understand everybody is a divine soul. And that truth is deeply embedded in their mind. Not something that they have to bring to knowledge. Hey, by the way, this is a soul and not this person. Right? So they have already perfected that practice. So this is only for people who have risen above bodily platform. Okay. And if you think about it, they discard all the social duties because their mind is completely absorbed in God, engages entirely in the performance of spiritual duties, devotional service to God. When the social duties are gone, right? This is the biggest concern mothers have for their daughters, right? You'll become Baba. So when your social duties are cut, then all you do is work for God. Just become a profitable servant of God. That's all you do. And then you are called a Karam Sannyasi. You don't have to marry and raise a kid and talk over the phone with your relatives and listen to their sob stories or tell them this is what you need to do, provide career advices and stuff like that. All that is cut. All you do is focus on God, become their profitable servant, and that becomes the motto of your life. Classic case, Swamiji in front of us. That's a different matter, that he has a larger family than any one of us. Okay, everybody goes to him with his troubles, and Swamiji, this has happened, that has happened. But that is called technically a Karam Sannyasi. Now, if you look at the definition, obviously it's confusing. It looks like Karam Sannyasi is of a higher order, right? Their mind, they have already achieved the objective which a Karam Yogi is trying to do. So the social duty aspect is already cut for them. And they've started working only for the sake of God. Then why Lord Krishna is saying that Karam Yogi is superior? Let's get into that. I would let you think and answer that as well, okay? It's not going to be served on a platter. So let's get it. Now, if we look at this equation that we spoke about, now if you look at this concept of Karam Sanyas in Ramayana, let's see what Lakshman says. So when Ram was banished to 14 years in exile, immediately Lakshman came. He said, I'm going to come with you. And when Lakshman came to Ram said, go take care of your mom, dad, right? I mean, the elder son is going, and if you'll also accompany, you'll take care of him. Then all these arguments Ram presented. So let's see what Lakshman tells him. It's a very interesting answer that he gave. So in Ramayana, Lakshman says, More sabai ek tum swami deen bandhu pur antaryami. Okay, it is from Ramayana. So basically what he's saying is, you are my master, father, mother, friend, and everything. I will only fulfill my duty towards you with all my might. So please do not tell me about any of my bodily duties. Simple answer. We also recite, right? Tvameva mata cha pita, tvameva bandhu cha dravidam or vidya, whatever, kind of forgotten that. So we also recite that. Point being, we say that, God, you only alone are my mother, father, but we just say that. Lakshman is saying, I know that, and I believe that. So my first and foremost duty, being a soul, is towards the super soul. Because I'm not at the bodily platform. I'm not your brother who has to take care of my biological father. By the way, this biological father term I came to know here in US only. So he said, I've risen above that. I truly understand who you are, and I know what is my first and foremost duty. So don't give me all this that take care of father and all this stuff. My first and foremost duty is towards you. And for that matter, every soul, the first and foremost duty is towards God only. The rest all is the drama that our mind has created because of its conditioning, right? All the relations and our duties and our material dharma and all that stuff. It is there for us to understand and rise above that, but we make it the order of our life. For as long as we continue in it, we keep repeating here, but we learn it at our own pace around that. There's only one duty for the soul, to serve God. If you do that, you have already fulfilled all the duties in life. That's what our scriptures tell us. Very deep, profound concept, and not easy to grasp until you actually reach that stage. And it's going to be not going to be a unit step function for sure. So Lakshman told very simply. So this basically embodies or illustrates the definition of Karam Sanyas beautifully. Your only duty is towards God and nothing else. And people who have reached that stature through their multiple lifetimes practice are eligible or entitled for Karam Sanyas. Okay. Now let's look at it empirically, what Karam Sannyasi and what Karm Yogi does, and have a little bit of food for thought. So Karam Yogi is the one who does spiritual plus social duties. And then Karam Sannyasi, who does spiritual duties only, right? Now the first question I would like to pose is, which of the two has more work to do? Look at the equation, right? Second question I'll pose is, which of the two can progress faster towards God? Let's have a bit of a discussion before we proceed further on this. Now, who's doing more work and who you think will faster towards God in both?
Very interesting question. Nitinji, looking at the equation, looks like Karm Yogi does more work.
But of course, very true. Anybody who disagrees with Pallaviji's observation, who had a bit challenge in maths while they were studying?
Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
No, I don't disagree. I had raised hand earlier, but I also think that Karma Yogi is doing more work because it's also doing, I mean, while they are in the process, they are also doing things.
Yeah, Karam
Might
Yogi
be tasteful also, I don't know.
poor guy, right? He's saddled with two duties. Karam
Yeah.
Sannyas is only saddled with one duty. So yeah, logically speaking, we can see that who's doing more work here. Karam Yogi is doing more work. And the follow-up question I posed is, who do you think will progress faster?
Karam Sannyasi.
Why?
Because they're already closer, right? They are only doing spiritual duties.
Okay.
And much well connected with God, I would say, as compared to a Karm Yogi.
Okay. All right. Fair point. Let's hear from a few more participants and then we'll take this discussion forward.
Yes, Kumarji, Radhe Radhe, please go
ahead. Radhe Radhe. I'm a program manager, so if you ask me this question, I'll say it depends.
So did you choose to be kind today, or did you choose?
I'm choosing to be very kind to myself.
Okay.
Myself is the in quote. Myself.
Yeah. And of course, be kind to as many people as possible.
Yes,
now that you mentioned it. So basically, even when you look at math, Karam Sannyasi's social duties is 0. So spiritual duties plus 0 is spiritual duties. So which of the two has more work to do? Once again, I'll say, it depends. Each person, it's special spiritual journey, right?
Let me ask you this question. Is God going to cut you slack that because you have social duties, even if you do 50% spiritual, I'm fine because the rest 50% is going for your spiritual duties? Is he allowed to cut some slack or get some discount around that?
I think God is going to look at overall, right? Like how much closer you are. So basically, I think he's looking at more the spiritual side than what you do as a social duty.
Okay.
Now, when do you become a Karam Sannyasi? Because you are kind of evolved, right? You have been a Karam Sannyasi before, and you have evolved. That's when you have become you're a Karma Yogi before, and then you have evolved, and that's where you have reached a Karma Sannyasi. Now, why is God saying in Bhagavad Gita that Karma Yogi is better? I have a feeling, this is my thought, that he is talking to Arjuna, which is most of us, right? We are Arjunas of different degrees. We are nowhere near Karm Sanyas. So he says, don't try to delude yourself, trying you can be Karm Sanyas, because at some point of time in life, I wanted to be that. Then I realized what it was, where I was nowhere near, right?
Yeah, got it.
So that's the reason why I think, as Sandhya ji said also, I think Karam Sannyasi is more nearer, except of course that person does something crazy.
Fair point. Good points. Thank you, Kumarji.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
A few more participants, and then we will get into another question that I'll pose before we proceed further here.
Can I take Urviji? And
sure. Let's take new participants if we have. So
yes, Urviji would like to hear. Hear your opinion about this as well. Yeah. Go ahead. I didn't unmute her. Go ahead, Urviji. Yeah.
Radhe Radhe. I think for the first question, that which of the two has more work to do, I think if someone is a true Karma Yogi and if someone is a true Karma Sannyasi, so I think their works are equal, because then the Karma Yogi does not see the social duties as social duties. Everything is a spiritual duty for the Karma Yogi, and he seemingly does the social duties. So I think the works are equal, and out of the two, which can progress faster, so it also depends on the person. If they are taking the path correctly, they can walk with the equal pace. But I think if someone is a Karma Sannyasi, his state is much more elevated if he's not taken immature sannyas. That's all, Radhe Radhe.
right, when you set up a question paper, sometimes you wonder, the answer is better than the question itself. So beautiful, Avirvi. That was very profound and deep thoughts around it. So wonderful response. Anybody
Thank
wants
you,
to add
Urviji.
that? Or let me add the follow-up question as well, right? I've posed the first two questions, so let me put this as well. Now, then why basically, if we think, Karam Yogi looks like he has more work to do, we would say that, nothing is secular for a Karam Yogi, everything is devotional at that point. But why unequivocally, decisively, Lord Krishna is saying that Karam Yoga is the preferred path, or it's better than, it's greater than, I put in that, Karam Sanyas? Why would he say that? Okay, so let's have a few more. I can see a new names, Ajit,
Yes,
Sonali.
I see Sonali ji. And yeah, Sonali ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe everyone. I was thinking about this equation. So I think like I'm of the opinion that Karm Sannyasi, it does not show that like they have more work to do, because if we see the equation, if someone does 70% spiritual duties and then 50%, so it's basically more Karm Yogi. So it depends like which of the two has more work to do. It depends like how much dedication you have. Like if Karm Sannyasi, it's only spiritual duties only, and then you do not have anything extra you can put through, but with the Karm Yogi, you can have like add on like social duties. So definitely it's greater, and it's not about like who does what, it's about how much dedicated you are.
Very true. It's difficult to quantify. Very true. You can't put a number for that, surely. Great point. Sonali ji, where are you joining us from?
Yeah, I'm from Dallas. We have met before.
Okay, we have. Okay, sorry, pardon my memory. Okay, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, we met at New Year.
Oh, we did meet at New Year. Okay, I look forward to meeting you again next time, and next time I'll not forget it. Maybe by face I can recognize, but names, I'm just not so good at remembering it. So, but good to hear from you. I look you one of these days again. Okay. Yes. Let's.
Yes, Shashi Verma ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Nitinji and Palviji. Whatever I learned according, that Karam Sannyasi's patan can be done easily if he doesn't perform his duty to the fullest. Where Karam Yogi, even though he does half-heartedly, still he is kind of tied up doing some kind of duties. So that's why Krishna thinks, Karam Yogi is better than Karam Sannyasi.
Okay, now that's an interesting concept. Maybe I need to explore that a little more. That Karam Sannyasi can fall much.
And in India, we see so many Babas. They are, smoking and they are taking marijuanas, and they became sannyasi by wearing those clothes of sannyasi, but inside they are not renounced.
Right. I think if you tell them that they are having marijuana, they will like it, because what they call it is bhang, and I will introduce that as well in one of my slides. Okay. Great point, Shashiji. Thank you. Let's hear from other participants as well, and we'll move forward then.
Yes.
Maybe a couple of them, and then we'll proceed.
Yes, Preeti ji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe everyone, once again. I think I'm answering the third one because the first two are already answered by many. Lord Krishna extols Karma Yoga, I think, because it is tougher, right? I mean, Nitinji, you have said 1-2 times in these sessions that whenever you feel you have arrived, go and stay with the family. It is very tough to handle familial relations and others also. And at the same time, you have to do your spiritual duties. So for me, a Karma Yogi is a person who's working harder than a Karma Sannyasi. And Lord Krishna extols Karma Yoga for this reason. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, fair point. Yeah, Karam, that's very true. I mean, living in a family is difficult, but then if you go by the definition of Karam Sannyasi, they have cracked that code already. That is why they have gained eligibility to be a Karam Sannyasi. So, but if somebody becomes a Karam Sannyasi without having cracked that code of Karm Yog, then what is going to happen? We'll look at that as well. But great point, Preeti ji. It's very true. Even I'd read that in, I think, Ramdas' book. He said, when you think you have really arrived spiritually, just go and live with your family. Okay, just have those 5-6 people around you, and the kind of dynamics that will come, right, between wife and then mother and then kid and then grandparents and this and that, that can shake anybody up. If you don't have a game plan, you will get absorbed and start playing party to it. Okay. And before you realize, it will become a big boss house, right? So it can happen.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's hear from a couple of other.
Let's hear from Ajit ji. Radhe Radhe. Thank you for waiting, Rahul ji. Yeah.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Actually, to my opinion, as you have defined, the Karam Sannyasi is doing lot of spiritual duties only. So, out of these two, Karm Sannyasi is working much more than the Karma Yogi. The reason behind the spiritual duty comprises of social duty as well. They are not renouncing the social obligations as well. And secondly, the Karm Sannyasi is perfect in his yoga, meditation, and utilizing its every and each second to fullest extent in compared to the person Karma Yogi. So he is delivering much more output. If you consider God as a CEO of the world, he will give more marks, more ACR points, KPR sort of thing for Karma Sannyas than the Karma Yogi.
See, Karam Yogi, it's a little difficult as well if you think about it, right? If you just compare between the two, you first have to do your work, material work, then offer the result to God. And it's because, and now you're exposing yourself to the world as well, isn't it? You're exposing yourself to the world, and not just keeping your mind engaged in things related to God itself. You might well be an IT engineer, you might well be a doctor, a lawyer. So you are taking care of your profession and have to manage that dichotomy or duality around it. where you may have to do hanky-panky stuff just to deal with the world. Not hanky-panky, but you have to put your buddhi there, right? And at the same time, handle your mind so that everything is attached to God. Just imagine how much conditioning you need to your brain. And Karam Sannyasi is focused completely on the work of God. Yes, please.
In an organization, you see, whenever a person joins, he is working a lot of duties at level 1. Then he get promotion to level 2, level 3, level 4, board level. The person at board level is having much more responsibility, much more jobs for the organization, and much more output is delivering. So you just don't see the level 1 is working more hard work, but the other person is working on the mental level,
True.
not the physical.
Second thing is they have already gone through the apprenticeship of level 1 to become the board of directors. That is the key thing to be understood. It's not that dropped from the top, hey, you will be board of directors. That means they've already gone through that apprenticeship, so they're eligible for that.
So Karma Sannyasi is the highest level, and Karma Yogi is the stepping stone to reach to that that status.
But
this is my opinion.
Okay, but why would Lord Krishna decisively say Karm Yog is better than Karam Sanyas in that case?
Because that is the first step. You cannot jump directly to the Karma Sannyasi. You have to go reach step by step. So unless you reach first step, you cannot go to the second. You can go to second, but it will be very difficult, very, very difficult. Unless you have the kripa of the Guru.
Yes.
Guru kripa.
Good point. We'll revisit that, Ajit.
Nitinji, I'm unmuted. Can I just give one comment, just one statement?
You can give 1.25, okay?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much. I'm thinking, why does Bhagavad Gita say that, right? So I have a feeling, of course, I did share my thoughts earlier. I think a person who has to read the Bhagavad Gita for spiritual enlightenment is a person who needs to be in Karm Yog. If he's Karma Sanyasi, he does not need the Bhagavad Gita. He doesn't need to read the Bhagavad Gita. That's my thought.
All right. Fair enough. Let's take maybe 2 more hands, and I want to build on it and conclude our discussion so that we all have a common understanding around this concept. So maybe 2 more real quick, and then we'll proceed.
Yes, Rahul ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead. Thank you for waiting.
Radhe Radhe. I think Karm Sanyas is a bona fide path, but probably it has to be taken under the guidance of Guru. Because Tulsidas ji also mentioned that if somebody prematurely renounces, and then he might be preparing to go to hell. So that is why guidance of Guru is very important, and he can judge whether we are ready or not. And Karm Yog, I think that is one of the most versatile paths which we have, and anybody can do that, irrespective of their culture, country, or socio-economic background.
Beautiful.
And when we talk about the social duties in Karm Yoga, I think in every day we get that challenge that where we have to apply all those concepts in our daily life. So you are all being tested, and you can revise those concepts, try to apply that. That might not be if somebody has done that prematurely and become a Karm Sannyasi, he might be still struggling with some things which we struggle every day. So
beautiful. Very nice. Great point, Rahul. We'll come back again. I want to show you a couple of slides. Maybe 1 more hand I can take, and then we can continue. Radhaji, you wanted to add something?
Yes, Radhaji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji. See, I have some few points in mind. I've been attending Essence of Hinduism classes also. So what we learn is, say, when a person who's very rich, he giving away in charity is not considered big. Whereas a lady who has just 1 rupee and she gives in charity, that is considered big. See, a person who's already a sannyas, he's overcome all this and he's into the spiritual path. Whereas a Karma Yogi has a lot of distractions in his life. He has to control his mind. Doing his duties and controlling his mind and trying to take the spiritual path is something that he needs the blessings of Guru and God to come into that path. So probably what he is doing is far more difficult, and he has to control the mind, which is really difficult. And then when the sannyas, probably he's already elevated through his previous karma or something. So this reminds of the Christian story, the prodigal son. A person who's good is always good. So the father is taking care of that son in a very good way. But when the bad one, he loses all his wealth, he loses all his name, fame, and he struggles, he's still taken care of, trying to bring him to the right track. So I think probably God wants us to fall in the right track. So a karma yogi is the one who is better off. That's what I feel.
Okay, no, great point. So let's continue. We'll come back again to this discussion. Beautiful points you made. Now let's look at it. Hedging, right? I brought in that term here. This is basically a strategy used basically to limit the uncertainties or limit the losses that we have. That is in financial parlance called hedging. If you know something is going to shoot up, the price is going to shoot up, you just hedge it so that you minimize your losses. Or if it's going to go down, you block the price there itself. Right? Like Southwestern Airlines, it was one of the most profitable airlines during the economic recession. Even when the gas prices went up, one of the reasons for that was it hedged the oil price. It brought it at a price even before it started shooting up. So when you are able to minimize your losses, that is called hedging. So Lord Krishna is actually giving us a very cool hedging strategy in terms of Karm Yog. I'll tell you why. And this is something concept, you can always keep it in your mind. Now, Karam Sannyasis, they are exposed to a danger. If having renounced their duties, they cannot absorb their mind in God, they are left neither here nor there. It's a huge undertaking risk. It's a dead end kind of a scenario. And what happens is, basically, it corroborates what Shashiji was talking about. You would see this Babaji, okay, smoking ganja. So this is the amount of risk in Karam Sanyas. If you prematurely renounce it, or if you're not ready for it, if you think that spirituality is all about becoming a Baba, this is what happens. Because they are not there, they have not experienced the divine bliss of spiritual path. And this is where they end up being, as you can see in a lot of cases, if you're not ready for it. And it's called that only the ignorant mistake their sloth and detachment from the world as, this way. So this is for Karam Sannyasis. Now the other side, if you look at Karam Yogis, if you don't have a plan A, plan B is there. So what basically, because they are doing their worldly and spiritual duties, if their mind turns away from spirituality, at least they have their work to fall back upon. Okay. Plan B is there. They have a flooring. It's not an abyss they will fall into smoking ganja like that guy is doing. They have their work to fall back upon. And Lord Krishna understands that part. It is a safer path for majority of the people, while Karam Sanyas is something that can be undertaken only the expert guidance of a guru, like Rahul pointed out. And that is why this is called superior. Now one can debate in your head, is it still superior, or God is just making it easy for us, in the sense not easy for us, but something that should be preferred over the other one for us. If you go to 1867 and 68, we will revisit this concept. Maybe I can bring it next week. If you truly think about it, only if you have perfected Karm Yoga will you get to Karam Sanyas. You cannot prematurely go there. However, through both the paths, like in 5.1, Lord Krishna is saying, 5.2, that you can realize God. It's not that you have to first become a Karm Yogi, then graduate to being a Karam Sannyasi, and then you will realize God. No. Both can go parallel. Basically, it's like in both the paths, you can realize God. It's not a sequential, linear, or a step function that you have to perform in order to realize God. God is not saying, hey, first become a Karm Yogi, and then let's talk about Karam Sanyas, and then you realize me. No. In both paths, you can realize it. So in Karm Yoga, it's easy because, first of all, the entry barrier is low. There's absolutely no entry barrier. Anybody can start practicing Karm Yoga. And secondly, you have a plan B always to fall back upon. So that will make sure we are neither here nor there. That kind of scenario will not happen. And if you can actually perfect Karm Yoga, it's obviously, I just wonder about people who are eligible for Karam Sanyas. They would have perfected it in one of their lives, right? Swamiji, when he took his sannyas, one of the oft asked question to him was, why did he take sannyas? Is it that his girlfriend left him? Is it that he got fired from his job? Is it that something, bad happened to him in life? He said none of it. Right? He believed in knowledge and it was a call of God, and that's about it. That means his devotion would have fructified with regards to the Karm Yog principles, but he was ready for it. Now it's like no more of social duties. There's nothing to learn through social duties. Social duties are there to crack our family, friends, all the relationships, the stresses and anxiety they bring to you. When we have passed all those tests with flying colors, then social duty aspect is cut. The only thing which is remaining is the spiritual duty at that point. So the fact that we have to do Karam Yoga is because we have not yet cracked the code of this world. Every second person can make us, feel bad. They can make us anxious. They can bring about the anger, resentment, anxiety, insecurity, fear, you name it. So once we start cracking that code, then we'll start getting that eligibility. But it doesn't mean that we need to first crack this code, get that eligibility, become a Karam Sannyasi, and then we realize good. No. As a Karam Yogi also, you can realize that. That is both are bona fide path. But Karam Sannyasi is something we cannot take a call on our end that, hey, now I'm going to become a Karam Sannyasi. No, it has to happen under the expert guidance of a guru, where guru would know exactly where you are and whether you are eligible for Karam Sanyas or not, and they will give you guidance. Right? Like they say, different shloks for different folks. There are different nuggets or different recommendations or different directions for different people from a guru. Right? Two people maybe working in a similar kind of a job will get two different directions from the guru because they know what you need. Okay, what is the next delta you need to have in your life to progress spiritually? So without an expert guidance of a God-realized guru, Karam Sanyas is not something anybody can undertake. Unless, of course, we are paving the way to smoke marijuana, then that's a different matter. But Karam Sanyas is not something anybody can decide on their own and start doing that. So when the mother has a concern that their daughter is going to become a Baba, it's misplaced. It cannot just happen like that. Okay. So we have two of our talented stars here. We're having a hearty laugh. But yeah, this is one of the concerns parents have. It's not something that can happen just like that. And if it happens, let's say the call of God comes, they dial, God actually calls you. It's a cause for celebration. They should throw the biggest party, even bigger than the party that we throw when, our grandchild's 5th birthday or your own 50th birthday. It should be a cause for celebration that, hey, somebody got a call from God and he's going to become a Karam Sannyasi. So it's a great, it's something to be celebrated if it truly happens. So that is the concept between these two. Now, when we get to 1867-68, those shlokas, we will see Karam Sannyas in a different light altogether. The reason Krishna is giving this instruction is for the people, so that there is a basis for them to progress spiritually. They don't think about that lofty goal of going to a postdoctorate without having gone through the hoops that are needed to even think about that stage. But at the same time, he's not saying you have to go to that stage in order to come to me. He's not putting the precondition for that. That's a key concept to be understood. Hopefully this concept is clear. Anybody who wanted to add anything? There were a few hands raised. We didn't get a chance to conclude that, so we can take questions and complete that discussion around it as well.
So Sandhya ji has asked question, do we have examples of people who have God realization as Karm Yogis? And Uday ji has already given answer in chat that we just want to share King Janak and Prahlad are true Karam Yogis. They had performed spiritual and social duties.
Yeah, scripturally, if you go by it, the documentation of some of the great kings are there. But then you say, how? Okay, that is too far back. King Janak, Dhruv, King Amrish, you talk about. Can you give me some contemporary example? Now, the problem with contemporary example, if somebody is a Karam Yogi, they have realized God, they will not put that label in front of their house that I am, like they put, right, BA, LA, MBBS. And so the biggest labels I've seen is with the lawyers who sit with an umbrella in front of high courts. So many. So let's say somebody has actually done it. They will not put that Golok return, Shruti and Brahmanisht, Karm Yogi certified by Lord Krishna. There's absolutely no way for us to know that. Okay, so we simply have to go by Bhagavatam and all those examples that they give us. If somebody is a Karam Yogi and they have perfected it, there's no way for us to know that unless we reach that level. Okay, then they say, right, it takes a smart person to know another one. So then it'll take a God realized person to know another one. We have to reach that stage for that. Yes.
Yes, Ajit ji, Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe. Actually, in present days, we can see the example of our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji. He has led his first Karm Sannyasi life, and now he is in Karm Yogi as well. So you see how much popularity and Ram Raj sort of thing, a lot of things he has changed. We can just imagine, if he was not there, how much deteriorated would have been in our country or world over.
If you look at his work and all, definitely something special is there with him.
This is a live example. Karam Sannyasi, if he goes to Karm Yogi, how much contribution quality can be improved. Radhe Radhe.
You can make a guess about somebody, but we can never be absolutely sure, right? For as long as we are under Maya. But yeah, if you look at some of the people, the amazing work ethic that they display and the amount of passion they bring to their job and the amount of detachment they have with regards to so many things around them, you can make some kind of a guess. But to be absolutely sure, there's absolutely no way for us. Unless we have reached that level, we'll not be able to make it out.
Mm-hmm.
So by the way, what all the concepts that we have discussed, okay, we'll just put one graph tomorrow and test those concepts, how well we have understood each one of those concepts. Okay, so look out for that. It will be a good revision of concepts tomorrow, and you will have to really exert tomorrow to map it to which concept or which quadrant this person would fall into based on all that we have discussed over the last 5 to 7 days. Okay, so look out for that, and we'll have a very interesting presentation tomorrow as well. So both the things are going to happen tomorrow, but let's continue. I can see a few hands raised, so let's continue.
Padmaji, please go ahead. Radhe. Thank you for waiting.
Just I wanted to add few thoughts about the Karma Yogi part, right? There is a greater demand for Karma Yogi that the actions that we perform and the efforts that we put in, like in my head, this is how I'm breaking like Karma Yogi, right? There's the karma part and there is the yogi part. Karma is whatever actions that we take, and whatever our understanding of what our prescribed duty is, our understanding of what our action should be, without detachment and without expectations and without feeling pride, right? So there's a lot of layers of a process and understanding and effort that goes into this to bring ourselves to the state of yoga, right? The other piece of the Karma Yogi, to bring into the state of yogic part. So it's a self effort, which is what God always loves, right? The self effort that you put in to trying to come across that part. So when we put these two pieces together, when you're putting the effort, but eventually you're transforming yourself where that effort is actually joyful, and that is like in the presence of God, for the God, but while you're doing that actions, while you're performing your duties. So that is a beautiful, not just a mental understanding, but a spiritual experience that we experience. So I feel like he will give us much more bonus points to go through this, all the churning process. Amrutam did not come overnight. There was a lot of churning process which happened. Many things came before that, and eventually, the Amrita came out. And just like a diamond which comes from carbon, it has to go through lots of process of pressing and refining and shining and all that process. So for that effort, I feel like Karma Yogi is in God's eyes, there is an effort that he validates, and it demands for whatever the value that we are putting, that it is difficult to get there, is what I'm saying. That to get to that state of yogic state of mind to do whatever we are doing, but we feel the joy and we feel the presence of God, which is we are experiencing. That I feel is the most beautiful process for being as a karma yogi.
True, that is true. So Karam Yogi, yeah, they feel that because if you look at it, software of both the Karam Yogi and Karam Sannyasi are the same. It's just the hardware aspect of it. Outsidely, their activities might be different. One is doing the social duties as well as but internally both are kind of attached to God for everything, right? And the bliss that they feel would probably be similar kind of a thing. In fact, in this shloka itself, Lord Krishna is saying a Karam Sannyasi, obviously he has cut down that distraction, right? He's no longer obliged to do social duties, so his path, they can progress faster because he's directly working for with a very focus there, right? And the bliss aspect obviously would be directly proportional to how deeply they feel that connect with God. It's directly related to that. Either it's a Karam Yogi or a Karam Sannyasi, both the cases. I guess so. I think that's probably what you're trying to tell, right? Maybe. Okay. Padmaji is saying I told so many deep things and this guy understood something completely different, but pardon me.
Yeah. I try to put something in words. It's I many times I understand that it's very deep than what I'm able to express, so I have to wait.
Yeah. Hats off to Padmaji. You're always speak very profound. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
Padma, I'm very sure you won't be surprised and you'll be used to the fact that very few people understand you, right, at times. So, including myself. Sometimes I try to do that, but it goes beyond me as well at times. So I pay very close attention. Sometimes I get it all right, sometimes completely different. So
I'm so sorry.
thank you, Padmaji. Everyone, please fill in the feedback tracker. The link is posted in the chat window. Please put in your questions and any feedback, comment. And by any chance, if I'm unable to read your messages in the chat, please go ahead and put that in the feedback comment also. Because there are so many messages, sometimes I may miss. It is unintentional, but sorry about it.
yeah, put the feedback comment, not the feedback about Pallavi ji that she did not read our comments. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Nitin ji, for specifying that. All right, and if I can take a quick moment for announcements, Nitin ji.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to, okay, I can share quickly. It will be quick.
Sure. I think you wanted to show something today.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to remind everyone about the please do attend this session, which is about the milestone inspiration session. It is going to be on Saturday, May 7th, 10 a.m. And this is, we can learn more about the projects that Swamiji has initiated about Jagat Guru Kripaluji University and all those. We can get more information about all the initiatives. And of course, to succeed in Swamiji's initiatives, we all need your help, your active participation, and this is something please do not miss to attend.
Yeah, so we will having, please note down the time. It would really address some of the questions which might be playing on your mind. What is this initiative about, and what will get funded, who will get benefited? All the questions will be answered in that session. I'll also be making a small presentation, so I would expect if you can join, that would be really nice. If we can have presence from Daily Wisdom class, at least in double digits, nothing like it. I may reach out to you personally as well if you can make it to those session, and we can talk through that as well. So please take down the time, and it will be really nice if you can join that session.
8:30 p.m. IST
yes,
and
8:30
10
p.m.
a.m. CST.
Right. And also we'll share some success stories around it and a lot of good information. So do plan to attend. It will be a really nice, wonderful session. And those of you who are traveling, you can join from plane. That is also an option. So, and other than that, family camp coming up, do check it out. Swamiji's retreats are in full swing. It's online available, so do avail that opportunity. And if you're on or around any of those areas, do meet him in person, attend those retreats. It's a once in a lifetime kind of an experience. And once you do it once, you will do it more than once, right? Like that Ruffles ad, no one can eat just one. That is how the retreats are. No one can attend just one. It just keeps
Yes.
on adding up. All right.
It's much awaited family camp, which is going to be from June 24th through June 30th.
Right.
So, yes. And Swamiji's tours are also going on in United States. Please do not miss it. It's great opportunity to meet with Swamiji in person.
Yes.
Apart from that, a quick information about Sita Navami celebration, which is on Sunday, May 8th. This is the Kirtan time on Sunday morning. So there will be soulful Kirtans, Swamiji's special messages there, and jhula and cake cutting. There are a lot of exciting celebrations, festivities. Please do not miss to attend this. And please do connect with the temple, Radha Krishna Temple of Dallas, on social media, Facebook, follow on Twitter and Instagram, and connect to the temple for any seva services and other service opportunities.
Right. If you like, the offerings from CIC, it's all the offerings from RKT that come. And, one way of expressing your gratitude towards, if you have gained anything out of it, is by doing a small seva, like, share, comment. It's a small seva, but it goes a long way. It just adds up. So please do that whenever you get a chance. It really inspires our video team. You don't, they put in so much of hard work. It's like those creating those videos after every program. If you look at some of them, those people, I don't know when they get to sleep. And it really motivates them, when we share it or like it or put a comment on it. Even a small comment goes a long way. Please do that. It's very motivating for our team. And like I said, a lot of hard work goes. And if you feel inspired, please take an opportunity, follow us on Facebook, like videos, share it. And it's just a small saver, 5-10 minutes of your day, but that goes a long way and really adds up.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Nitinji, for adding that. And those are the quick announcements for today. And that's it from my side. Yeah.
Thank you, Pallaviji. Okay, I can see a couple of hands. Let's continue.
Yes, I saw Urviji's hand raised.
Yes, Urvi, you're not allowed to put your hand
Yes.
down. Okay, once you raise it, you have to ask a question. That's the rule.
Can you please raise your hand, Urviji? I saw her. Are you here?
There you go. Yep.
Yes. Yes, go ahead, Radhe Radhe.
No tough questions. That's the condition.
Radhe, Radhe. No, actually, a question just popped up in my head, and then I thought it's not even possible. So I was thinking, what if someone takes Karma Sanyas as the path, and then he wants to switch back to Karma Yoga?
No rollbacks there. Huh? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting question, but why would you take Karam Sanyas without any expert guidance? That's the key thing, right? And how do you know that you'll be able to switch back? That that path that you chose, if it doesn't meet your expectations, what is the guarantee that one will not take a U-turn in life, right? So that is why it is recommended that do it under the expert guidance. But if the call of God is so strong that one is able to take a decision on his own, then again it's contextual. I cannot say anything either way. I can only go by what I've read or I've understood or what I've heard. So it says it's always you consult a guru and they can tell you whether it's a recommended path for you or not. It's always good to consult a doctor like we do, as opposed to Googling it and doing it on your own, because these things are meant, only experts can tell that. So that would be my 2 cents on that.
So
Okay.
just to add
Thank
on,
you.
yeah, go ahead, Urviji. Go ahead.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. That's
Yeah.
it.
I had a follow-up question, Nitinji, on Urviji's question, because there are a lot of other, we have heard stories about people who tried being monk and then came back and then got into regular lifestyle. I think, was that something?
Possibly they might have experimented it and came back. So I don't know, but this is basically treacherous path because it takes a lot. You are actually putting yourself into something that requires a lot of expert guidance. So without guidance, if you think you can tread on this path, is asking for too much.
It's impossible.
Yes, right. Very difficult. But yeah, people might have dabbled with it, might have come back, might have dabbled with it and then taken a U-turn. All possibilities are there. But scripturally speaking, it is supposed to be done under the expert guidance of a guru, because first of all, we don't know where we are in our spiritual trajectory. Secondly, even if we knew where we are in our spiritual trajectory, we don't have the means to know how to progress further, unless of course we come under the expert guidance of a guru. So in both ways, it's important to have a guru. It's not something that we can take a call because it's a bit risky in that case.
Thank you. Yes. Sashiji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Nitinji. You just mentioned earlier that God keeps the track of each and every thought of our even previous lives. So my question is this: mind is the machine that creates the thoughts continuously. Some are productive, some are not. So the one are not good thoughts, and like Patanjali ji says, when you have a negative thought, turn it into a positive thought. So if those negative thoughts arises in our mind, are we going to pay the consequences for those thoughts, even though they are not good thoughts and they are not productive? So
Yeah.
I just need a little bit more, explanation and clarity about those thoughts.
Yeah, so every thought is recorded. So you have negative thought recorded, you counted it with a positive thought recorded. It's not that you counted it now negative, positive, cancel, neutral thought. No, both will get recorded. It's like every thought generates an imprint on our mind, right? Like a rubber stamp. So those imprints, when they start becoming deep, when they start deepening, which becomes our mindset, basically repeated thought patterns, they become our sanskars. And God has an account for everything. So even if you have just a running thought, unproductive thought, that gets logged, everything. That is why it's important to start improving the quality of our mind, so that it starts generating more positive, uplifting and noble thoughts. Because the more impure our mind is, the more unproductive, random thoughts it will start generating, right? There's a story, this guy was in oasis, not an oasis, he was going through a desert. Okay, it's a humorous story. So he's going through a desert and he's feeling very tired and thirsty. So he said, how nice it would be sitting behind a tree, beneath a tree. How nice it would be if I get water. And it was a kalpvriksh. He gets water. He's very happy. He said, how nice it would have been if I get food also, laddus and all that stuff that he was craving for. Immediately that comes. And he said, how nice it would be if I get a bed. A bed also comes. And then his mind says, everything that I'm thinking is happening. What if a tiger comes and eats me? Tiger comes and eats me. So, tiger comes and eats him. So our mind is very random. It needs to be tamed in the sense that it generates more productive thoughts. And every thought that is generated gets recorded by God. Okay, it's called a sankalp in a limited capacity, of course, and it leaves an imprint on our mind. So if you keep on harboring negative thoughts, you will see more of it will come, like weeds, right? They get more of its own kinds. And that is why Swamiji lays a lot of emphasis on mind management, right? Maharajji was the Jagat Guru who laid a lot of emphasis on mind intellect aspect of it, because this is the biggest problem that we have. It generates random thoughts throughout the days, right? And we have absolutely no control over it. And that's where we need to get better. But yes, Shashiji, to your question, everything gets recorded by God. Every small thing.
Yeah, but how you can improve it? How you can stop it? Is there
Purifying
any
it.
way?
Purifying it by cleaning it.
Yeah, that I understand, purification, but how you can purify it by chanting the God's name and keeping your mind in more, doing seva, doing all these kind of good deeds, that will purify the mind
That is
only.
the detergent. That is the detergent that you apply to this dirty cloth. Our mind is called a very old dirty cloth. And how do you clean an old dirty cloth? By applying detergent on it. But after applying detergent, and detergent is what? Anything which is pure. What is pure? Everything in this world is colored with three gunas. Only two things are pure: God and saints. If you attach your mind to God or His Naam, Deep, Roop, Gun, Leela, Dham, any of these areas, or saint, then it will purify it. If you attach to anything in the world, whether it is a great leader or somebody you really feel inspired with, sportsman, whoever, again trigun, it's going to dirty it. And it's called kunjar shauchavat, basically. So we put some mind to God and Guru. So we take bath a little bit, and then rest of the day we think about the world. That means, like that elephant, we take a little bit of bath, and after that we put mitti on top of us. So it's a very simple principle. Something dirty, how do you clean it? By putting something pure to it. What is pure? Only thing which is gunatit. What is beyond gunatit? Only God and Guru. That's it. It's a simple principle. If you attach it to anything other than that, it will dirty it, because it has its own colors, gunamay.
Yeah, in case, Nitinji, I want to disturb you for a second. If we are trying to help it out in the world, thinking, we are helping out other people, right? So that would not consider, pure thing, it won't.
No, it will be, if you are thinking I am helping, then it is sattva. Sattva is also tainted. Goodness is also tainted. Okay, you have to go, if you are thinking, okay, God is enabling me to help this person or acting through me so that I can, then you are attaching it to God, and then it will purify. But if you're helping somebody, it's a meritorious.
There's a little twist in it.
Yeah,
twist.
It will take you to Swargalok, so, but not beyond that. Helping is good, but not good enough.
I see.
Unless it is attached to or dedicated to God.
So if we dedicate to God and help others, then it's fine, right?
It's true. Like, that's true. That's a Mother Teresa example I keep on quoting. Somebody asked her, you help these lepers who are despicable. She said, no, I'm not helping lepers. I'm actually helping Jesus, basically Jesus, through helping them, because he's enabled me to kind of deal. So basically, and the act that she was doing it as a service to his God. Not as like I'm doing it, I'm so great. If you have that feeling, it is sattva. It will give you meritorious deed, but not something which will purify your mind. Sattva is also binding, because it is also one of the triguna maya, right? It is white color, but it is still binding. It is not beyond. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for giving me all the clarity. Really appreciate that.
No worries. My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, Manoranjan ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Manoranjan ji.
I think I'm also trying to unmute. And are you able to?
Manoranjan ji, I think.
Yes, I think it is. We are toggling the same thing. Hold on. Yeah.
Chief Manoranjan ji is not able to.
Somehow he is not able to unmute.
Okay.
All right. Oh yeah, Ajit ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Nitin ji, as we are going end of the discussion, we are getting some nectar, I believe. The Urvi ji's question and query by Shashi ji, if you integrate both the things, it seems that our initial stage of student life, up to the age of 25, we should devote in Gurukul Paddhati as earlier. Bhagwan Ram was also sent to the Gurukul for the same Karm Sanyas and study of all those skills. And then they have put it to Karm Yogi.
Yes.
When he won the throne.
Yep.
So this could be the ideal thing, to my opinion. Urviji has raised this issue, and it seems to be a little impossible sort of thing, or hasyaspad lag raha tha. It was laughable, but it seems that it's a good, just like your hybrid portfolio, the equity and debt.
Yeah, that is called hedging, right? When you bet against some of the risks.
Yeah.
So that learn all this. Profound question. If somebody having those thoughts, that means it's a very deep thought at this age, especially when we are student. I mean, I don't know what I was doing. I was a completely wasted guy at that age. If you can think that deep, that means you've already acquired a lot of spiritual merit to have that much of depth around these topics. At this age, people have so many distractions in life, and studies and career and friends, and too many distractions are there. So just to have that kind of a thought process, what it would take to do that, if you want to do that, that is actually speaks volume about how much depth somebody has acquired early on in life. So that is really commendable, I would say. because these are deep questions for sure.
Thank you, Nitinji. I think Manoranjan ji tried to. Yeah,
Manoranjan ji, let's
I'm
try.
able to unmute. Yeah, please go.
Yeah, namaskaram to all of you. I'm sorry I was not able to unmute. Now am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah, indeed, I was listening to the discussions and discussions on Bhagavad Gita are so soulful that you should not never miss these opportunities. So first of all, thank you to all of you for bringing this endeavor and guiding us in the path of God realization. Thank you very much. Now, just it is my mistake. I joined lately. So just two-liners on the difference between Karma Sanyasa and Karma Yoga. Then I'll have my question because I want to know your perspective, Nitinji.
I'll try, Manoranjan ji. I may not be able to answer, but I'll try.
Yeah, what actually, because I want two-liners on what do you mean by Karma Sanyasa and what do you mean by Karma Yoga. Two-liners only.
Two-liners, okay. Karam Yog is spiritual duties plus social duties. Karam Sanyas is spiritual duties but no social duties. 2 lines. I'll stick to my promise.
Absolutely.
Is that all, Manoranjan ji? I think we lost you again.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible now?
Yes, Manoranjan ji.
Yeah. So to put things in perspective, actually, see this karma. The difference between Karma Sanyasa and Karma Yoga is not that simple. It is a very complex phenomena, and it is beyond the reaches of the profound sense. But who are we to just discriminate between Karma Sanyas and Karma Yoga? Okay, so suppose right now if somebody asks me whether I am a Karma Sannyasi or I am a Karma Yogi, absolutely, I have no answers. I cannot answer this question. Okay, so nobody knows that who is, because these roles keeps on changing. Let us try to understand. Nobody is absolutely a Karma Sannyasi. Nobody is absolutely a Karma Yogi, right? So as we divide them into two parts, a person who is married have
Understood. Yeah, there are shades of both in everybody's life and spirituality, but there is a predominant aspect as well, for sure, right? But I got your point. Yes, I think we are losing Manoranjan ji, so maybe we can take anyone. Pallavi ji, you have time? 10, 20,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah. If we can be a little quick. Yeah. Kumar ji. Thank you, Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So, because Padmaji's PhD in her conversation, I would like to be the kindergartner in the conversation phrase, right? So make it easy, make it fun. That's my thought.
Sure.
Sorry for being that. But anyway, so Karma Yogi, I think there was a question on, do we know of any Karma Yogis? I can think of 3 people who are truly Karma Yogis, or at least from my opinion, from so many people's opinion. I have seen that there is one, there was a politician, South Indian politician called K. Kamaraj, and he was called a Karma Veera Kamaraj. So, and if you read his story and the way he led his life, he even left his mom. I think Modi ji has also done this. He left his mom in his ancestral village, in such a, like a small building, even while he was staying in the governor bungalow and all that stuff, right? All the palatial buildings, but nothing. He used to wear a simple color shirt and a dhoti, and he was very highly regarded by Nehru and Indira Gandhi and all those people, right? He was a Congress man, and he had, there was no, he didn't get caught in any this one. I would say probably the way he was, he didn't. No, nothing would go near him like that. So one was K. Kamaraj. Number 2 is ABJ Abdul Kalam, who was our president some time back, right? His life, same way. these people would not, they were truly this one. I don't want to say more. I think if you can read even Wikipedia or some other places, some stories, you will know that. The third is, of course, our current Prime Minister, truly a Karma Yogi, I think. It's simply phenomenal, these three people. There might be many more, but these three people come to mind. I just wanted to mention that. So that, having said that, there are a few more tidbits. One is, I was thinking about Sita Navami, and I'm like, why separate Sita Navami? Because Ram Navami is Sita Navami, in my mind. Probably we give a little more preference to Ram on that day. So I think someone said, hey, come on, let's have a Sita Navami as well. But anyway, it's all God's Navami for me.
Very true.
Yeah.
So me and Sita Navami. Yep.
Exactly. So I think they just wanted to make it separate. And then, like in the US, they always want to make it right. The Mother's Day, Father's Day. Every day should be that day. Every day should be God's day. So that's the kind of thing which I think I would like to develop, and probably one should. But anyways, so the other thing was yesterday, like there were two people saying the same verse, poem or sloka, and then I was thinking about, this is copying in spirituality, but in spirituality, copying is good if it's a good thought. That's one tidbit. The second one is the U-turn. Someone said, how about sannyas to a yogi, right? What's wrong in it? A person can make a wrong decision, become a sannyasi and say, oops, I did wrong, and come back, U-turn, nothing wrong, right? God has given us free will, and you can make mistakes and you can come back. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I have a lot of examples of many Buddhist monks, life coaches as well on that. So that's one thing. Then one more thing is negative thoughts. What would, we can say, what would Krishna do, right? That is something which I always think. What would Jesus do? Something like that. What would Krishna do? Then we will kind of purify our thoughts. And last but not the least, when you said detergent, I just was remembering washing powder Nirma, whose advertisement I used to really love when I was in India. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Kumarji, for all the tidbits that you provided. Very true. All right. Pallavi, do we have? Or we have overshot our time now?
Yeah, just a quick minute for Padmaji. I think she has her hand raised for quite some time.
Sure, Padmaji, real quick.
Let's be real quick. Padmaji, thank you.
Just two things about the mind. I think Shashanshi asked this question. Mind has functionality like thinking and processing and contemplating. We can't already. Nitinji's like, that's it for you today.
So go ahead. You started.
So there is the functionality part of it, which it has to function, right? The mind has the functionality, like the thinking process and contemplating process. But we have the control of what we think. But it's not going to be an immediate process, right? It's going to be a graceful process where we train our mind, which is very conditioned, because we don't want to kill the function of the mind, but we just want to manage the function of the mind, of what it thinks and how it thinks. And that we have to retrain our conditioned mind of what are we thinking and what we are thinking as often or as less. And that we can train ourselves as baby steps. And when we truly beg God and say, we are the beggars, I am trying, but give me that grace, and he will give you that baby step to go through the process of thinking right and thinking, spiritually, and then also make that thinking process into thoughts, and those thoughts will transform into spiritual actions. And I think those baby steps, the process is really important, and he wants to see that effort of the process. And I feel like he's very impressed when you really put the effort, and he's like, okay, like a good teacher can, so I think he will give us that strength and conviction and the courage to take that baby steps to the next, to move further. That's what I truly feel.
Great point. In fact, we are making God's job easy, right? When we try to work on ourselves. So obviously he will shower his grace with both hands. He's waiting for us to take those steps, and it will draw more of his grace. But you brought in a good point. We have an ability to train our mind, and that should be our endeavor, as opposed to thinking we are the mind and simply following it. That should not be the case. Bhagavad Gita also tells us mind is our worst enemy and can be our best friend, right? And befriending our mind and spirituality is all about how do we make it our friend as opposed to somebody who's misguiding us. Great point, Padmaji, and great segue to our closing prayers. Tomorrow we are going to test your knowledge and have a great presentation. So come and you'll have to wear your thinking caps on tomorrow. We're going to have a very interesting, engaging session as well. So thank you again and a wonderful, wonderful discussion. And thank you for the opportunity. Let's do our closing prayers for the day.
Yes. Who wants to recite the closing prayers today? I don't see any hand raised. Okay, Sandhya ji, Shyam ji. Okay, both of you.
Padmaji, let's do that all together.
Yeah, let's unmute all three of you. Yes, go ahead.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your evening. Stay blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Nitin ji, for such an awesome session. Thank you, everyone, for such enriching discussions. Stay blessed, stay safe. Have a good night, good day. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, everyone.